Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight is writer, director, Ramone Menon. How's it going, Ramone?
Hi, Robin. Hello, fans. Hello, podcast listeners. Thank you very much for joining us. And Robin, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, let's talk about your horror short film, The Pay. How'd you come up with that idea? It kind of remind me, the creature, and it kind of remind me of a cryptozoid. So, did you do some research on cryptozoology, or is it something you came up completely out of your head?
I'm actually not familiar with cryptozoids or cryptology, but now I'm 100% going to be checking it out because, I'm that kind of a sick man. So I will now be checking that out. But to be honest, I actually came up with this because when I was a kid, I watched this movie called Basil the Great Mouse Detective, this Disney movie, and in that, there's a bat who's like the sidekick of the main bad guy. And I, for some reason, was terrified of that bat when I was really young, and I had nightmares. And I was like, and with horror, as you can see, make something that's going to scare you. So hence, I was like, okay, let's finally do my giant bat movie. So it also comes from that tradition. And of course, I made it bigger and crazier. And also because we shot this movie during the second spike of COVID. And, there was a theory, and the thing is, I wanted to make a movie about COVID without making it about COVID. And I was like, what spreads faster than COVID and lawsuits was social media. So hence, I decided to make a movie about social media. And I was like, so how is this going to play into the whole COVID thing? And there was this theory that bat soup fucked the world. This was essentially what, sorry for swearing, I didn't mean to, but essentially that, I was like, oh, bat soup. I was like, oh, this is a good time to bring the giant bat in. And the term, the pay is actually a word I'm from South India. And in South India, the word pay means demon. But it could be any kind of demon. It could be the devil. It could be a woman in a white dress. It's very ambiguous as to what it is. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do my pay. This is going to be my version of what I think the pay would be. And hence, we ended up with this giant bat creature.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I love the special effects on it. And the premise of the film was, you follow this young lady, she wants to be real popular with social media, and then she finds this link, and then, she hits it, and then she starts getting all these likes and followers, but there's always a consequence.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Pandora's Box horror movie, so to speak. Don't read the Necronomicon. Don't watch the Ring video. This comes from the tradition of that because I'm a big fan of The Ring, especially, and this is very highly inspired by The Ring, as you can see. And it's also, I feel, it also comes from, of course, in terms of the themes of the movie, whether it's obvious or not, it's the girl is an aspiring social media influencer, and she's really keen on getting likes because she's not getting that. And then the moment she finds this gift, which says, if you want more followers, share this GIF and watch her followers grow. And then as she shares it, and then she sees that she's getting all these likes and these new followers, but as the followers grow, she can start hearing weird sounds in and around her house. And then something comes into her house that it's all like unseen. And then it seems to, whatever it is, as her followers are growing and her likes are growing, whatever it is she's hearing is also growing. So in that sense, it comes from the tradition of, I'm a big fan of Alien, and the Thing, those two especially, and I love the fact that the monster is constantly growing and morphing in that, and I wanted to do something in that vein, and I was like, okay, this is a good time to finally do my monster movie.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And then when she started getting all these likes and followers, then also the followers who followed her would hit the link, and then they would get to pay the consequences as well. And the pay goes after them and haunts them, which kind of makes it like really creepy. It's like a COVID disease, It goes from one virus to another host. It's just creepy.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's something that I felt would be interesting, that everybody is feeling the same thing at the same time, and because we're supposedly connected through social media, but yet the fact that we feel connected, but yet we're not really connected. It's not a real life physical connection. So I thought that playing on that aspect could be interesting, and the idea that everyone has their own pay, so to speak, would be weird, rather than just have like one Godzilla or one Sadako, or whatever monster you fancy as an example. So I thought that could be a fascinating way of treating the monster movie, where everyone gets their own monster. Essentially, everyone gets their little gremlin
Yeah.
or whatever.
How'd you make the monster? Was it little special effects? And how'd you make the wings?
Oh, for that. I mean, I had this idea for this bat creature, and then my special effects guy, Robert Bravo, who's a genius. He, I'm a big fan of practical effects, and I just felt like that carries a lot of heft. And Robert Bravo put together this suit that is essentially what he made. He jokes and he always annoys me with this thing. He said, "You gave me the budget that's less than my monthly cell phone bill, and I had to conjure the thing up," which he did. And my actor friend Daniele Manzin plays the pay. So it was that is a thing that actually was on set. That's not a special effect at all. Like the wings, the whole body, everything. That is a man in a suit. We love the old classic man in a suit. I mean, I'm a big American Werewolf in London fan, so I feel like that also. We make these kind of movies just to have fun, to see some guy on set wandering around dressed in a bat suit, and of course to torture my friend as well. It was a nice thing to do. So the only special effect with that, in terms of VFX, was the actual eyes.
Yeah.
Like, to give them the glow, but the rest of it it's all practical. Like everything, the wing, the whole time. Whenever you see it, it's a practical effect, which I am super happy and proud of, and very grateful to my team, including my cinematographer, who lit the shit out of it and kept it in the shadows so that we can create the horror effect that we were going for.
Yeah, it was very creepy. The cinematographer was pretty good because he knew how to zoom in onto the creepy shots, especially on certain shots of the pay, which really brought the eyes out, and a little bit of the wing where you kind of like felt the terror of the pay, going after the young influencer. You can
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can feel it. So when you did this film, did you ever think about maybe making it into a feature film?
Yes. So yeah, just to go off on what you were saying about my cinematographer, his name is Tommy Oshanak. He's literally my teammate the whole way through. We sit and we're very specific with storyboarding this. Mm-hmm. This was a very, especially with the social media aspects.
Yeah,
you had to plan exactly where on the frame things are going to pop up, because there's screen life movies and then there's narrative, and we want to blend those two. So it had to be the most planned out, sketched out film in terms of that. So we literally follow the storyboards to a T, from the point of the script to the storyboards to the editor. She followed it too. Her name's Meng Fang Yang. She did a great job. So Tommy is like my partner when it comes to getting it spot on from the start, like from the inception. I go through every iteration of the script with him so that we are on the same page the whole time. So with this one, in terms of the feature aspect of it, yes, we planned it to be a proof of concept right from the start. We were like, okay, it's not just a short film. We want it to be a feature. What is the best approach to do that? And I felt, let's do the classic approach of like do the Scream opening scene. Somebody gets killed in the opening scene just to establish the world. So that was our approach. We even joked with the actress Katie Lazinski. She was excellent. That I was like, this character, I know you're smart, Katie, but this character has got to be played down a little bit. So she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, because you could see how obsessed she is with the likes. Even when her friend goes missing, she's He's more like thinking, hey, but these followers are pretty banging, aren't they?
So, how'd you get Katie for the role? Was she your plan in mind, or did you like try to find that right actress that could play down Katie real well?
Yeah, we basically, we wrote this. I wrote the script, and then we did casting through. I think it was LA casting. Yeah, it was LA casting, and so and at the time it was COVID too, so we had to like do all these Zoom meetings and just to see, because not only did Katie knock the audition out of the park, because we basically I didn't want to give her this because it's just a lot of action. So I gave her a scene from the Blair Witch and said, play this scene. And she killed it. And I don't even know if she knew that was from the Blair Witch, but she did a great job. She did a totally different approach to it. And I was very impressed. So we finally met, because that's the other thing is like, okay, now that you're a great actress, can you stand me? Can you deal with me? I'm a real horrible human being. So usually that's why I meet with people, just to be like, okay, you know what you're getting into. This could be a really tough situation for you. So she met and she's like, okay, I can tolerate you. Maybe I might have to take up smoking or something, but I can tolerate you. So she was great, and it was a tough part for her to play because first of all, we're all masked and stuff, and it was a very new environment. And then also, it was just a lot of action, really. She hardly talks. She talked to her friend on the phone, but it's a lot of reacting to nothing usually. And I think she did a fantastic job. I felt like that's the one thing, and I'll tell anybody who's making any horror movie, you can have pretty gnarly, crappy equipment, and you can not have the greatest story, but if you get a good performer, I think you can make a half decent movie at least. But if you get the good performer, because that is key. That's one thing with Katie. When I saw the footage, I was like, even if we screw this up, I think this girl will still save this movie.
Oh, I could definitely do that. She did a solid performance. Now, since you're from India, so how big is horror in India? Is there like a lot of people that like horror back there, or is there like a specific, like urban legend you talk to kids in India that really freaked you out?
Oh yeah, there's actually, India is filled with horror folklore. It's packed. It's actually like, because India has so many states and so many different languages, because it used to be a bunch of different little kingdoms that all came together thanks to, I feel like because of that, there's this whole idea that mythologically they all have their own demons, and some of them are absolutely terrifying. There's the oldest vampire in the world ever came from India, which is also like the Paymarkley, and they would feed on the bodies of wounded soldiers in the battlefield. And so India definitely has this extremely rich tradition of monsters, demons, demon gods, and sometimes they have a philosophy to them, sometimes they don't. There's a lot of demons sitting in trees. I'll tell you that much. In India, you see a tree, you better fucking run, because there's definitely something sitting on there, and it's definitely not an owl. So I feel like, for the amount of, this is going to sound like a criticism, but maybe it is and maybe it isn't. Okay. But for the amount of great demons and for the amount of great mythology that there is in India, I still think that they haven't made the great Indian horror movie. They make a lot of horror movies over there, but it's always tinged with this comedy that kind of pisses me off. Because I feel like, man, if you just took this shit just a little bit more seriously, I think you could make something absolutely terrifying. So maybe one day I'll make the attempt. I don't think I can actually pull it off, but I will make the attempt. But in India, there's definitely a want for horror movies. They really want like the audiences really want horror movies over there. Like I remember when The Conjuring, Insidious, Annabelle, all that stuff, the whole James Wan world, they loved it. Like I would go to the theaters and I'd be like, oh my god, it's packed, because I would go during the summer break and all that stuff to go back home, and that's when I realized, I was like, see, these guys want this stuff, but they have to get it from James Wan and Blumhouse and all these guys. Why they should be getting it from here, which hopefully it changes, but I don't know. There's a great tradition of horror comedy over there. There's this movie called Stree. It's on Netflix. It's Stree.
Okay.
It's very cool. The setup is great, but it's tinged with comedy the whole time, which that's the part that kind of pisses me off a little bit. But if you want like one very good recommendation for a Indian horror movie that I think really stood out, was this Tamil film called Pizza. It's about this pizza delivery guy that goes to this house and it's haunted, but that's just the most basic way of saying the plot. It's like saying Jaws is a movie about a beach in peril. There's way more. There's way more to it. So Pizza is good, and there's this other movie called Tumbad, Tumbaad. It's like the Indian version of a Robert Eggers movie.
Oh, interesting. I'm definitely going to have to check out Pizza. And I love, foreign horror, especially from the Italians, the Japanese, the Koreans, all that. It's great. And I do agree with you. I want to see me a great Indian horror film, something that's like psychological. I don't care if it's slasher or something that's really going to get under my skin and be like, wow.
Yeah, like I said, they do have the potential. Like this movie that I mentioned, the Robert Eggers type movie called Tumbad, they did push the boundaries. They didn't give a shit about the commercial aspect of it, which was great. And Pizza is an excellent. If I say more about Pizza,
don't ruin it.
But I'm just saying that it's a master class in structure too. Like, which I love. I love when the horror genre does that better than any genre. That's why it's my favorite genre. So Pizza does that. And then I just suddenly remembered there was this movie called Game Over, which is the horror movie version of Run, Lola, Run. Okay. And I think that's also a Tamil movie, and they shot the shit out of it. So I think you can see Tumbad and Game Over on Netflix. The Pizza, I think you need to probably like rent it on Amazon or something, but totally worth it, especially that you love foreign horror, because I get it. I'm a big foreign horror fan. I'm a disciple of Dario Argento, Bava. I love the guy who did the Tale of Two Sisters in Korea. Yeah. And then I love The Wailing, Chaser. It's I feel like right now in terms of world horror, the Koreans are absolutely killing it. Like, oh hell yeah! It's and not just horror. I think any kind of cinema. I just saw Decision to Leave again, and I was like, this guy. I mean, like every time I'm like so jealous when I watch this guy. I was like, how is this man so goddamn creative? Park Chan-wook. He's the old boy guy. He's phenomenal. Every time he comes out with a movie, I'm like stunned. I feel like he's so underrated as a filmmaker. I feel like he's reaching that Stanley Kubrick level, and he's so good. Like that, I saw that movie Thirst that he made, the vampire one. Yeah, Thirst was good. I've seen it. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a great vampire flick. I mean, because my one of my favorite vampire flicks of all time is Near Dark, but Near Dark, that would be in my top 3 vampire films. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I did see Thirst myself recently. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was a great film, man. It blew my mind. Yeah. I mean, like Near Dark, like you're speaking my language when you come to this. When you talk about Near Dark, because that Catherine Bigelow, I feel like that's her best movie by far. Even though she's got praise for other stuff, but Near Dark. Bill Paxton and that scene, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. There's a scene in a bar. Yeah. that gets pretty goddamn crazy. I mean, that you really have to be like making films on a very high level to beat that scene, especially in a vampire movie. That and Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In is also got a great swimming pool scene that I think those
yeah,
bar scene and the pool scene are right up there.
yeah, very creepy. That's all I have to say about that. I like the original. I didn't like the remake, but the original was the best. You know, I mean, I mean, I saw both of them. You know, every time I go see a film, a horror film or whatever film, you know, I go see, I always go in with an open mind. I don't pay attention to the critics. I don't pay attention to anybody else who slams on it. I have to see it for myself. You know, and the thing that makes me mad today is, you know, you get all these people who are unhappy of everything. They want to, like, tear stuff down. Especially, I support indie filmmakers, and it seems like sometimes people always put down and dissect indie filmmakers going, oh, this film's horrible or this film's good. It's like, don't nitpick at it. If you're going to do a good review, do a good review. Be honest. I mean, pick what you didn't like about it and what you liked about it. Don't like trash on the whole film, because you don't know what the ideas and the mindset the director and writer was going on. And plus, a lot of people don't realize either is it's really hard to write a script and film a film too. It's not that easy.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It's so tough. Like I mean, just doing a movie like The Size of the Pay, which is tiny, is tough. So I can't imagine doing a movie like Babylon or something, you know, like, I mean, just, it's insane. I think, like, everybody says it right. Like, all the directors say it, like, and it's so true. Like, every time a film gets made, it's like a miracle of some kind, you know? So, and I appreciate the fact that you see the filmmaking process from the filmmaker's side, too, because, of course, I feel like you want to be critical, too, you know, in a good way.
Yeah.
Which is, because we all want to grow. Like, even, like, I don't mind when someone kind of puts me down, like puts one of my movies down in a way that it's constructive.
Yeah.
Like where I'm like, okay, how can I do that better? Because that's all of us who are making movies or any kind of art want to do. We always just want to get better or change in a positive way. And I feel like, we live in this time where, like, because of the democracy of social media, like, people can tear you down pretty easily. But all I have to say to that is, like, if you made a movie, any kind of movie, and if someone's talking shit about it, take it for what it is, but make another one. Just a movie. And that's something that I felt when I was younger. I made something and I was like, I don't know if I'm capable of, you know, doing another one. Why? You know, like, I don't think you're good enough. But I think it's just a movie. I think Brian De Palma said it. He's like, he made... I think it was Phantom of the Paradise or something. He was like, you know what? I mean, that's a great movie too, but it didn't do well or whatever. And he said, who gives a shit? It's just another movie. We'll just make another one. And then he made Carrie, like, right after. So it's good to kind of see other people, even who are, like, way higher in a much better position, still that they have to take the hits too. So who are we in making tiny indie films not to take those lessons? I feel like it's a tough gig. And as I've seen, like, some of the other filmmakers, I know some of the filmmakers you've interviewed as well on the podcast, all those guys, tough as nails, guys and girls, like, tough as nails filmmakers. And, you know, I'm almost, like, super proud that I can be a part of the whole podcast list. Like, some of those guys, like Teddy Tenenbaum, you interviewed. I love that guy. The Barber brothers, those guys. Those two, I can't believe they did a 1-2. Those guys, the Spectre of Weeping Hill and Get Out of There, or
Get Out of There. Those brothers are brilliant, man. They got great imagination and great storytelling, and I met them at Nightmares Film Festival in Columbus. So if you ever get a chance, you should check out Nightmares Film Festival. I mean, it's a big deal, and that's where I met the Barber brothers. And ever since then, I've been following, you know, their short films and work. I mean, I see a lot of talent in these guys, and, you know, and fingers crossed if they do a feature film, man. I would love to see them do a feature.
Yeah, they're so good. Like, they, you know, like, a lot of people talk shit about jump scares and stuff. I love jump scares personally. And these guys, the Barber brothers in I think it was the Spectre of Weeping Hill.
Yeah.
They scared the shit out of me twice. Like really, and I don't get so easily put off. And I feel like their timing for the scares are top notch. So yeah, I'm a fan of theirs, and I really want to see them do a feature. And you know, when you were talking about nightmares, I have a movie that I'm making right now. It's an Indian folklore horror movie that I want to. Hopefully, we'll be putting it out for the festival run, and hopefully, it's good enough to be accepted in places like Nightmares. But it's something where I've kind of lent into the whole. Let's do the Indian shit. You know, let's just lean into that side of things a lot more. Again, it deals with the demon that I came up with. Again, it's my own folklore, but it ties into the different types of mythologies that I've almost like remixed and thrown in there. So I'm really excited to have people watch that and see what they think. Hopefully they don't hate it too much.
Hey, you have my attention. Let me know when that sucker comes out. I'll definitely, have you back on. We can talk about that. I would love to see that. You had me at that. I was like, make it, damn it, make it, shoot. Shoot, I'll come to LA and I'll come in for like a short part and you can kill me. I don't care.
No, the thing is we've already shot it. We're actually in post right now.
Okay.
So we're trying to finish it by middle of May so we can kind of send it out to some of the festivals and plead with them to let us in, because that's you want to get as many eyes on the movies you make. So but it's like when you were talking about Nightmares, it's like that's one of those festivals that I really want to go to. So hopefully we can make it happen with this movie. And it's just like but when you go to these festivals, the other thing is like it's so inspiring seeing these guys who are doing the same genre as you, but just totally different voices. You know? And like it's there's so many great filmmakers that I've met on the whole festival circuit, and the Barber brothers, the Summers brothers. A lot of brothers on the circuit as well.
I know. It seems like it, and then you meet the ones who are like, separate, and like I said, I've met a lot of great female filmmakers in indie horror too. There's a lot of great female directors and writers that can really write a good horror film too.
Amazing. Yeah. So some of the best ones actually, I think, are the female filmmakers. I mean, I'm even calling them female filmmakers is like, it does a disservice because they're killing it. Like they're just amazing. Like I feel like there's this girl named Kelsey Bolig. She absolutely wiped the floor with these two movies. One was called The Fourth Wall, and one was called Kickstart My Heart.
Okay.
And she was a killer. There was this awesome short film called Smile. I think her name.
Yeah, I've seen that. That was good. And isn't that the one where they based the Smile movie off of?
No. This is a different one.
Okay.
The Smile one was called Laura Hasn't Slept.
Okay.
That's the guy named Park Finn.
Okay, gotcha.
That's a great movie too. But there's this other one called Smile, and it actually came out a year before the feature. Okay. Smile. It's so creepy. It's about this like weird demon, and I wouldn't spoil it.
Okay.
You should check it out if you haven't. It would play. I think it played at Nightmares too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it did. I definitely need to look. I definitely need to look up Kelsey and have her on and pick her brain too. So, where can everybody find you on social media to see what you're doing next and when your upcoming, film, comes out?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Ramone Menon. It's one word, Ramone, and last name is Menon, Menon, Menon like Lenin, but one word. And yeah, I'm a pretty annoying type of character to follow, but it's okay. I think you'll be. I do kind of recede into the background from time to time just to give you guys a break, which is good. So the moment we're ready with the next film, I will announce it, put the poster out, and just say, hey, this thing exists now, and we're ready to go. I almost like find it like I'm a little nervous to put a poster out until I just lock the cut. And not just lock the cut, but when you get all the VFX and your motion graphics and the color. Once the color grade is done, then I'm like, okay, now we can announce this damn.
That's awesome.
Until then, Yeah, until then, and it's got a very unique title. That's why I don't want to say it.
Don't say it.
On,
Keep it in suspense.
yeah, I think it's something that you're going to enjoy. It's in the vein of, I'm a big fan of Asian horror, as I was talking about. So it's in the vein of that. But it's just like I was saying, I wanted to see the great Indian horror movie. I'm not saying that this is the great Indian horror movie, but it's going into that direction. And I feel like hopefully by June we can start showing it around, and I think it'll be a good time. And by the way, the other thing I suddenly thought of it, there's this other great short film called Moshari. Came from Bangladesh.
Okay.
Excellent. Like, you guys, I think it's on Vimeo, so go check it out. It's made by this excellent filmmaker named Nuhash Humayun, and I think they're doing a feature of that. So there's already the rumblings are happening. I think there's a movie coming out too, another Indian horror movie. But I feel like finally, like how J-horror had its day in the early 2000s, how the Korean horror cinema is having its day right now. I think the Indian horror cinema needs to pick up its shit, which I think it's happening. But let's give it a little push.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. I had a blast.
Thank you so much, Robin. I really appreciate you having me on, and you're amazing. And I'm a big fan of the show. I love the filmmakers that you interview. I love your approach to interviewing, and I feel that there's so much passion in your love for the genre and cinema in general. So I really appreciate what you do, and keep kicking ass with what you do, man. Like, we make these movies for people like you. So
yeah, exactly, and I'm going to pay my dues too. But like I said, thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening to Horror Pop.